Hi there, everyone. Thanks for joining in live here on YouTube today. This is Spencer with Top Producer's Customer Success Team, and today we're going to be going over some basics of getting started with your Top Producer X CRM. So whether you're a long-term Top Producer user and you're just getting started with TPX, or maybe you're just a new Top Producer customer altogether, good to have you here. We're going to walk you through some of the basics, like I said, show you the settings in TPX, show you what should be configured to allow you to get the most out of your CRM and really customize it to you. So before we get started, just like to cover a couple administrative points here. Like I said, this is getting started with TPX. I'm your host, Spencer. I'm also joined by my friend and colleague, Marvin LaRosa, in the live chat. He's on our research team, so he's going to also join in, help answer some questions, and also provide some really useful links to go along with what we're talking about today. Excuse me just for one moment here. All right. So just want to point out, this is definitely an interactive show. All you have to do is log into a YouTube account, and that's going to allow you to join in the live chat. So please do so. Feel free to reach out with any questions and comments. And sorry, guys. Camera is a little off today. It got kind of moved there. So sorry about that. Yeah, feel free to join in the live chat. We'd be happy to hear from you guys, answer some questions. You guys can definitely influence the show. And that's when it's definitely the most fun, is when everyone pitches in and joins in, and for sure. So moving right along here, just want to point out, after the show, if you require some one-on-one assistance, you can always reach out to our customer care team. Now, there's a couple different ways to do so. You can use the live chat in the bottom right corner of your CRM, or any Top Producer product for that matter. You can also pick up the phone and call us at 1-800-830-8300. Just please note, both those options are available Monday to Friday from 7:30 a.m. till 4 p.m. in Pacific Standard Time. Alternatively, you can also email us at support@topproducer.com. Just please allow, in some cases, up to a day or two. They are usually pretty quick, though. So if you prefer to go that method, please feel free to shoot us an email as well. So moving right along here, this is the game plan for today. We're going to go over Top Producer X's CRM settings, show you what they all do, or talk about what they all do, and kind of let you know why they're important, why you should spend the time to configure them before you really dig into using your CRM day to day. You'll definitely want to customize the experience to you and your business to make sure that you get the most of your CRM. We're going to also go over ways to build your contact database, whether that would be from importing a spreadsheet, using our contact sync feature to bring in contacts from an email service, or a combination of both. We're going to also go into using the follow-up coach for cleaning up your database, getting on track, and staying consistent with your follow-up across everyone in your pipeline, whether it be brand new leads, past clients, or anywhere in between. And then finally, we'll finish off with some help and support resources, just to make sure that you know what the next recommended best steps are, which direction to go in, so that you feel supported, so that you have what you need, and you can continue to learn more about your Top Producer CRM and other products. So this is the first point for today. We're going to talk about creating a solid foundation for success by learning about how to configure TPX first, learning what each of the settings does, learning about how it can be relevant to you, and how to, like I said, how to customize that experience yourself. So there are some vital settings, such as email integration, MLS connectivity, things like that are really going to allow you to get the most out of your CRM, the biggest return on investment, if you will. And so we're going to walk through that first. We'll start with probably email integration, and we'll go from there. First we'll kind of also touch on just some basics of the CRM, so you understand different contact statuses and types before we move on to the settings, and then we'll jump right in. So we're going to go right to Top Producer X. We won't waste any more time. And if you have not yet logged into TPX, you can feel free to join along at crm.topproducer.com. Once again, CRM, Customer Relationship Management, crm.topproducer.com. Marvin can also link you to that. And if you're in Top Producer 8i, which is the old version, feel free to also join in by clicking on the TPX link. So you just click on TPX at the top menu bar here, and that's going to allow you to jump right into Top Producer X. Especially if you're already logged into 8i, that's an easy way to get over to TPX. That being said, assuming everyone can log in, we're just going to go ahead and carry on here. If you can't access your account, please try the forgot password link here. You can put in your username and email to gain access. If you're really not sure and you just can't seem to get in, please reach out to our customer care team. We would much rather we hear from you and we help you through this process so that you can gain access and you can use this as soon as possible than have you struggle with that and wonder what's going on. So just please reach out to us. Live chat, you can access through the support page as well, which is topproducer.com/campus. So even if you can't log in, you can still use the live chat on our support page, or you can just pick up the phone and call us, which might be preferable in this case. So that being said, let's go ahead and log in. I'm going to go ahead and sign into TPX here. And so right along the top of the screen, right off the bat, you'll see these different tabs you can click on. So this is a representation of your business's sales pipeline. So everything from new leads to engaged leads that you've spoken with, to future prospects, to active clients and closed past clients are represented here. Now, there's a couple big reasons why you'd want to use these. One being just your own personal organization. It's just easier to read things split up and easy to sort through them. But there's also a big feature called the follow-up coach, which we'll talk about more in just a little while. But the follow-up coach is going to give you 5 contacts a day that it believes you should follow up with as soon as possible, whether they would be a brand new lead that you need to contact, a past client you haven't been in touch with for a while, or just someone in your sphere of influence that you could, just check in with and see how they're doing and see if there's any potential there yet, right? So highly suggest the follow-up coach. We'll talk about that more in just a little bit. So like I said, new, engage, future, active, close, the basis of the CRM, your pipeline statuses. And then there's also contact types, as you can see here, such as buyer, seller, past client. And then you see I have these custom ones here, like hot lead, first time buyer, A lead, things like that. You can customize this any way you want. And to find out more about that, I highly recommend joining me in my Thursday webinar. You can also access it via the webinar schedule. And that's 4 things you'll want to know after you set up TPX, where we really dig into the nitty gritty of day-to-day usage, custom, setups and things like that. So feel free to join me on Thursday after this show. So, but for now, we're going to go actually to the settings button in the bottom left-hand corner. So just in the bottom left there. Right off the bat, you land on your profile here, your My Information page. So this is your CRM's internal profile. Everything from your phone numbers, your email addresses, your social media links, etc. are in here. Now, there's not a huge rush to fill every single detail out right off the bat. Just want to point that out. If you have Market Snapshot as part of our Top Producer Pro Bundle, it will admittedly be a little bit more vital to fill this out because the information here will be used for your report's branding. So obviously you want to represent yourself properly and have your information there. But that being said, if you are logging in for the first time and you're met with the My Information screen, you don't need to stress too much over this. You don't need to fill out every single detail and delay yourself from getting in. And here's a couple of tips, a couple very important ones. The images here, please make sure that you're uploading images that are not too big. And the reason I say that is because if you try to upload an image that's too big, I think over 2 megabytes if I remember correctly, and then you try to hit Save My Info, it'll actually get stuck. You'll get sort of a generic error. And this just usually means, like I said, 99% of the time that the image is too big. So I highly recommend ignoring the pictures at first. Just don't upload them yet, maybe. And fill out some of the basics of the information here. Your mobile phone number is a good one. That's for use in some email templates as well. Make sure that your agent email address is the best one for you to recover your account and reset your password if you need to. This is also where some notifications will go to, especially for Market Snapshot. Like I said, social media links, you can always fill out later. Same with like address and things like that. Not to worry. Marketing color theme. This is the color theme for your Market Snapshot reports. You can always play around with that later. And maybe just make sure your time zone is set correctly and then click Save My Info. And like I said, you can come back here anytime. Not a huge deal. You can edit this whenever you like. So with that out of the way, we're going to actually jump down to the 5th option on the side here, which is, the 6th option, which is email integration. So my information, billing information, calendar sync, contact sync will come back to you later. Import contacts will come back to you later. Email integration. So email integration, this is one of the biggest and most recommended features to set up as soon as possible, because this will let you use your existing business email with Top Producer X. So you can send and receive emails through the CRM. You can view individual email history between you and your contacts. So these are all just advantages, because imagine that you are dealing with a client of yours and you need to very quickly bring up some past conversations. You need to reference some information that's going to be very vital for let's say an upcoming showing or something like that. You just jump into the email history and you're going to see those conversation chains right there. No more hunting through your inbox. No more trying to sift through what's irrelevant. It's just between you and that contact. So it's really easy to bring up conversations. You can reply right there. It's great for follow-up. You can use built-in email templates to really simplify your follow-up and speed up that process. Especially with new leads and past clients, there's some really great sort of built-in templates to handle those sort of situations, especially if you're short on time. So anyway, to set up your email with Top Producer X, it's usually as easy as filling it out in the box here, clicking authorize email, and following the steps for whatever email provider you're using. So if you're using Google, this will be very easy. You just follow some steps. You give it the permissions it wants to read and write, but not delete from your email. If you're using Exchange through a Microsoft Exchange server hosted by your brokerage, you'll just need to fill out username and password. You might also require some specific server settings, which, you know, if you're not sure what those are, you'll probably have to reach out to your system administrator, your IT department, or maybe your manager is aware of those details. If you're using, let's say, an Outlook account that you have on Outlook.com, like an actual online Outlook account, this should be a very easy process. You just need your username and password. If you're using Office 365 provided by your brokerage, or maybe you just have a personal license, you'll need to follow those steps. And once again, should be fairly easy to log in, as it's an online platform where everything is configured behind the scenes. So if you're using something like Yahoo or iCloud, you will need to provide a two-step authentication. So this is... for those platforms, you need what's called an app password. So APP, such as like application, app password. You need to generate a one-time use password that will allow you to log in via TPX in lieu of using your actual password. So for more information on that, I recommend doing a search online for Yahoo app password or iCloud app password. Usually it's pretty easy. It's just in the security settings of your account. But you can always reach out to us. Give us a call. I got a number out there. Use the live chat in the bottom right corner of your CRM. We can always assist you with that process. We have lots of practice with that. That's not an issue at all. So email integration. Also, guys, if you want to learn more, you can follow the links that Marvin is posting in the live chat to go along with the current subject that we're on. And at any point during your CRM usage, you can click these little question mark symbols here. And that will actually launch you into a specific page on our support site to show you more about this. So here's integrating your email account and add your email signature, video guide right here, walkthrough right here, everything you need. So next up, we're going to talk about email signature. So you've configured your email. Next, you'd probably want your signature configured so that it looks, you know, it appears as closely as possible to your actual to how sending emails actually looks for you. So your email integration is truly coming from your integrated email. However, there's no way for it to automatically pull in your signature. That's something that's stored on your email account in a proprietary kind of thing. So you just need to simply add a signature to your integrated email after you add it to Top Producer X. This can usually be accomplished by copying and pasting it over into this box. If you need any help with that, just please once again reach out. Yeah, there may be some formatting differences between your email signature in your email platform and this editor box here. But in that case, you probably just need to work on it for a few minutes, work on the spacing, work on the formatting, that kind of thing, and just save signature as well. So you may have noticed I have 4 different emails here, 4 different emails integrated. You can integrate more than one. So please just take note of that maybe you're in a team situation, maybe you have an assistant, you're You could have a second license set up for your assistant. If your assistant helps you manage your emails, you could integrate your email account into your assistants as well. That way they have access to email correspondence between them and contacts and you and contacts. So just an example there of how you might be using that. So next we're going to go down to lead providers. So lead providers, well, guys, let me just ask you, maybe you have some online lead sources. If you guys do, where are they coming from? If you have any examples, feel free to reach out in the comments. But right off the bat, I'm going to say you may have some coming from a website. You may have leads coming from an online lead source such as Zillow or Realtor.com. You might have other forms of lead generation, which is great. And you definitely want to get those into Top Producer X so that you can start managing them right within this environment from the get-go. So if you guys, like I said, if you have any lead sources that you are not sure about and you want to learn more about integrating, just reach out in the chat. We'd be happy to answer those questions and talk to you about that. But at the same time, I just want to say you have this myleads.io address here that you can copy and you can paste it into your online lead sources in their settings for lead forwarding. So Ali said she uses RealBird. Just going to look that up really quick. Landing pages and high performance lead capturing mini sites for listings. Okay, so that's really cool. So that's like individual landing pages for your listings, for your featured listings and stuff like that. Very cool. So yeah, something like that can definitely be configured to point the leads towards TPX. You just copy and paste your unique lead parsing address into your lead provider's lead forwarding settings, lead notification settings, whatever they call it there. And then that will ensure that that lead gets parsed into your CRM, automatically creating a contact that will then show up in your new tab on the contact record here. So let me just pretend this guy is a new lead. I'll switch him back. So Larry here would show up under the new tab if he came in from a lead source. So going back to the settings, many ways you can use this. Website leads as well. Maybe you have a contact form on your webpage. No problem. Point the settings towards myleads.io. Excuse me. And that lead will be parsed into your CRM automatically. Now, I do suggest having it go to your email as usual and to the myleads.io if you're given the option to configure more than one email. That way you get that standard email notification that you're used to receiving, and it goes to your CRM and creates a contact. So for more information about lead providers, please feel free to click on the little question mark button here. I do have a video where I walk you through that in more detail. You can also reach out to us. Some lead parsing situations can admittedly be a little bit complex. And so, like I said, we're happy to help with that. So going down to the next setting, there is Market Snapshot. So Market Snapshot, this is a big one. This is for our Market Snapshot subscribers, or Top Producer Pro bundle subscribers. So TPX plus Market Snapshot, match made in heaven, because it's going to let you easily send out custom market reports to your new leads so they can browse through properties with your name and branding attached to it. Past clients, you can keep them up to date with their property's value and they can compare it to their neighbors. People in your sphere of influence, stay top of mind with them, provide them with something of value so that if they do need your services or they know someone that needs services, that they know who to go with. So think of a hybrid of a CMA, a property search, and a drip campaign all in one. That's, in a nutshell, what Market Snapshot is. And it's just going to allow you to send something of value. I get lots of new agents asking me, what should I send? I'm not sure what to send. I've just heard that I should be sending a drip campaign. And I say, well, you already have Market Snapshot in some cases. You should be using that. And, sometimes it just takes a little bit of a shift of mindset to realize that this is a purpose-made add-on for providing property information. So when someone comes to you as a realtor, unsurprisingly, they want real estate help. So when you're reaching out to people to stay top of mind, unsurprisingly, that should also be real estate related, as obviously as much as possible. So, it's great to have pleasantries and stuff like that. And it's super nice to stay in contact with people and, for holidays and things like that. That's obviously nothing wrong with that. But when it comes to real estate market information and knowledge and providing someone with something of value, Market Snapshot, it's hard to beat. So This is something you can set up to go out every 2 weeks. It can have daily listing alerts to keep the recipient up to date with market activity. So before I talk about it anymore, why don't I just show you what this looks like? I'm just going to go into a snapshot report here and show you an example. So here is a market snapshot. We see I've got the color scheme set to blue. I see I've got my picture in the top left, email, phone number, that kind of thing, company logo. You can view details about the market here. Lots of great information. You can scroll through and look at properties here. Maybe I don't want to see all these expireds. That's not a problem. I just click on the button here and they're gone. Maybe I don't want to see the sold. Not a problem. They are now gone. I click on the map here. This changes the view to a more manageable 2D map view. I can scroll, I can zoom. Maybe I, as a recipient, maybe I, as a potential buyer, am interested in this home near the Portage Bay here. I can just click on it. It highlights it on the right side. I say, oh, I want to find out more about that. I just click on it. I then can view the full information, all the pictures from the MLS. Oh, nice little marina there. Nice patio. Top-down view. That's some drone action in there, I guess. Getting that nice top-down view so you can see what the roof's condition is like and things like that. On the right side, you've got full property details, like I said. You have schools nearby and also neighborhood amenities, which is powered by Yelp. You want to see all the closest restaurants and gas stations and things like that. You can see that there. Now, when someone's on this page, there's a couple different things they can do to interact with this listing. They can click on the little heart symbol up here. Do you like this listing? This will actually notify you as the agent that sent this report that they've liked this listing and suggest that you reach out to them because it can be a great conversation starter. So we all know people like to scroll around and click on things and thumbs up and heart and do reactions on social media. So this is kind of like that. They can click on the heart. They're going to be notified, or so you're going to be notified that they like this listing, and then you can reach out and see if you can make something happen with that. In the bottom right corner, there is a direct inquiry form for this listing. It has the property address and MLS ID number already filled in and ready to go. They just send that off. You receive a notification that so-and-so sent you this. You can then go in your top Producer X and start documenting that in Property Insights, for example. So to learn more about that kind of flow, please join me on my Thursday webinar. Show you how to document your home buyer's journey using Property Insights, especially with Market Snapshot, because that just goes hand in hand. So that is Market Snapshot in a nutshell. If you don't have Market Snapshot and you think, hey, you know what? Why don't I have this? This looks like a great asset. Well, please just reach out in the chat and I'd be happy to get you in touch with someone. You can go through a demo for Market Snapshot and see if it's suitable for you. But going back to Top Producer X, we're going to go to the settings. We're going to go back to Market Snapshot. And so if you do have Market Snapshot, you'll have this option available where you can modify the Market Snapshot settings. So if you're brand new, I do recommend just leaving this at the default usually. There's really nothing wrong with the way that Market Snapshot is configured out of the box with everything on, because then you just get the most out of it. You're not limiting yourself. You're not limiting your recipients. And lots of this stuff can be filtered by your recipient anyway. So a lot of people are like, I just don't want my buyers to see sold listings. Like, I don't want them to get distracted or get cluttered. But you know what? It's all just, extra information that could be vital to them. You just never know, right? Unless they have specifically told you they don't care about those sold listings, you might as well leave it on, because there is that button where with one click, they just hide all the sold listings anyway. So it's very easy to use, as you saw in the example I gave in the little demo there. So I usually don't worry too much about that. If in doubt, just leave it on. And then if you scroll down to the bottom, you can click on View Sample at any time to see a mock-up report. Now, it's very important to note, View Sample will give you a mock-up report, not a real one. So if there's some things that are not functioning, please do not be alarmed. It is just essentially a fake report just to show you what the visuals look like. Really great if you've changed something in your My Information page, such as your social media links, your color scheme, etc. That's a quick, easy way just to view sample and see what that looks like. So if you make any changes here, just make sure to click Save Market Snapshot Settings. So moving down now to MLS credentials. So you get all this great information from your MLS. It's something you probably use day in and day out. Why not integrate that with Top Producer X so that you can start pulling in property information into your CRM? You can document the homes your buyers are interested in. You can document your transactions and manage them, your listings and closings right within TPX, and more. And if you have Market Snapshot, this is also pretty much mandatory. So to add your MLS credentials, go ahead and click on MLS credentials, then click on Add MLS credentials. Now you just search for your board. You could go through the list. I don't recommend that. I would recommend just typing in some keywords or the name of your MLS, at least partially, to try to find it. So maybe you're with our MLS, for example, or regional multiple listing service. You can type in regional. Well, let's narrow it down more. Multiple listing service. And then that's going to narrow it down to about maybe 8-9 results. And I scroll down, there's regional multiple listing service right there. Then I would fill out my MLS ID number and save credentials. Now, some MLSs will require an ID number and a password. It just depends. If you're not sure what to enter here and you just can't seem to get this to work, I recommend just reaching out to our customer care team. We do usually have this information on our side. We have notes for different MLS boards so we can see if there's any specifics or any oddities, because there's tons of MLSs out there. They all do things slightly differently, and sometimes it's not always clear at first. So just reach out to our customer care team, and we can definitely figure that out with you. So after you add your MLS board, if it says status valid, that means you're good to go with Market Snapshot, with Property Insights, and transactions, and of course, and just properties in general. You can add people's properties from the MLS data as well. So to find out more about all those MLS connected features, once again, I highly recommend joining me for my Thursday webinar where I talk about all that kind of stuff in more detail. So we're going to go down to the Task Plans Manager next. So Task Plans Manager, this is where you want to go if you want to create your own new lead follow-up plans, transaction templates, pretty much anything that you want to be able to do time and time again for your contacts or your transactions. So you can go here, you can browse by task plan type, you can browse templates, or you can just add a plan from scratch. So browse templates, recommended starting point, click into here, click in the search box. Maybe I want a simple lead conversion template. Then just click on that. It's going to show me what it looks like. Call your new lead on day 0, follow-up call day 3, check in with the new lead day 7, follow-up call. Just a basic follow-up plan. Maybe I want a buyer under contract checklist. I can click on this one. This one has 26 tasks to follow. These are due on agreement date, 7 days after agreement date, 7 days before closing date. So these will all coincide with the key dates that you set per transaction. Very versatile. It'll automatically adapt when the due dates are for these tasks based on the dates you set in the transaction. So those are just starting points. If you find something you like, click on Import Plan. This will allow you to use that plan, create from template, yes. If you select no, you just make it from scratch. So would recommend this maybe a little bit after getting set up with TPX. Spend a week or two at least to get the settings configured, to get your database imported, to play around with some of the basics. And then at that point, I'd recommend maybe looking into the Task Plans Manager. You don't want to overwhelm yourself with too much at first. Just get the basics set up. But the Task Plans Manager is great for those power users that want to stay on top of everything and that want ultimate consistency. You can also make task plans, by the way, that are already have pre-assigned tasks to certain people on your team. So if you're a team leader, this is great. You can make task plans that you have tasks due for yourself, you have tasks due for a certain agent, things like that. So you can really structure this in some powerful ways. So next, or last but not least, there is texting. So TPX does also feature built-in texting capabilities. Now, how this works, I just need to get this out of the way right off the bat. You can't use your own cell phone number for texting, and there's a very good reason for this. The reason for that is, legal issues. Legal issues. You can't just impersonate someone's phone number willy-nilly. Phone companies would not like that. That's basically what scammers do. I get calls, at least a couple times a week from what appears to be a local area code, a 778 area code, which, is usually someone's cell phone. I pick it up and it has like a robot call or like a scam call. And if I were to hang up the phone and call that number right back, it would be some guy or girl that has no idea what's going on because it wasn't their fault. Their number was impersonated by a scammer. So that's not something that we support at Top Producer. There's too much danger involved in that. There's too much possibilities for that to be misused. So the next best thing that we can provide is a virtual texting number in the same area code. So basically you put in your actual mobile phone number here, then you hit save texting setup. Wait a few seconds, you should receive a text message on your phone. You just need to reply with confirm on your cell phone. Wait a few more seconds. There'll be a button up in the top right that says check status. You click that to refresh. It should say your TPX texting number has been registered, and it'll provide it to you there. So it should be the same area code as your actual number. And, it's pretty common nowadays for people to have virtual numbers. Lots of agents I've spoken with have Google Voice numbers, for example. It's not unheard of. You can treat this like a business number. So you can feel free to advertise this in your email signature, on your website, even on business cards if you want. And that's going to, if someone texts you at that number, it'll notify you on your phone saying you have a new text message. If it's from a contact in your database, it'll show the person's name. And if someone calls that number, you will not miss the call. It will actually ring your phone. And sorry, excuse me just for 1 second here. My heater is really kicking into my room, and it just is absolutely turning into a sauna in here. So I just have to open my window a little bit more there. I don't know why it activates at the most ridiculous times in the day when it's absolutely not necessary, but it's always during my webinars, and it's just out to get me. So anyway, texting setup here. Great opportunity to use this for especially maybe new lead follow-up. That's what I'd recommend, because new leads aren't expecting you to call them or text them from a specific number anyway. They don't know you yet. So texting is a really powerful way to follow up with new leads, especially. And little tip, you can even link to market snapshots that you're sending via text message. So if you're worried about your market snapshots not being received properly, or hoping that someone won't miss your email, well, first off, you should always be following up on market snapshots anyway. That's the best practice I always teach from the get-go. Send them easy follow-up email or follow-up text, and that's a great way to make sure it gets right into someone's hand on their cell phone. So texting, huge asset to have. Like I said, I would recommend it personally for new lead follow-up especially. So that covers all of Top Producer X's settings for now, or most of it, I should say. Next, we're going to delve into how to build up your contact database. So do you have some contacts in a spreadsheet from a different service, a different CRM, maybe from your MLS, or maybe something you've even worked on by hand, essentially? Well, you can bring that into Top Producer X as a spreadsheet file, a CSV, simple cross-platform spreadsheet file, comma-separated values spreadsheet file. So I'm going to show you how to do that, and also talk about our contact sync feature, which will let you bring in contacts from a email service such as Google Contacts, iCloud Contacts, Office 365 Contacts, that kind of thing. So there's a couple different ways that I recommend doing this. So we're going to talk about that next. And yeah, like I said, we support a couple different email services: Google, Office 365, Outlook, iCloud. Yeah. All the common ones that you can have contacts in. So we're going to go into TPX again. We're going to go down to the settings button in the bottom left once again. And let's talk about importing contacts. So import contacts from a CSV file on your computer. To get started, click on choose file to import. Browse your computer for a CSV file that you'd like to import, and double click it or click on it and hit open. This will import it into Top Producer. And then now this is the most vital part. So there's contact status, contact types, and field mapping. So let's walk through this one by one, especially if you just happen to be following along, or you're watching this later. Please take this step by step. Do not scroll down and just click import contacts. You will sabotage your database. You want to make sure that this is done as accurately as possible so you get the most information out of your import. You're not missing any, phone numbers or emails aren't goofed up, and you'd have to redo it, and that's obviously going to waste your time. It's going to cause you frustration. So right from the get-go, let's talk about contact status. So in case you missed out on the first part of the show, contact status is where a contact is in your business's pipeline. So new is for brand new leads that need to be contacted. You haven't reached out to them yet. Engage is for contacts that leads that you've followed up with, but you have not yet qualified. Future is for colder leads, people that you realize are not serious buyers or sellers right now, or even just your sphere of influence that you want to stay in touch with once in a while. That's what future is for. They're all future prospects potentially. Active is for your active opportunities, your current clients that you're working with right now. And then closed is for past clients, closed transactions, past clients, but you can always shift people back out from closed into a different status if they present new opportunities. There's also inactive and non-client in case you can't categorize your contacts in a standard way. Maybe non-client, you could use that for vendors, things like that. Inactive, you could use for people that maybe moved out of the country, etc. So what I want you to think about when importing your spreadsheet is, what does my spreadsheet contain mostly? Is it a list of past clients? Well, I'd probably want to choose closed. Is it a list of mostly like 80% of it is your sphere of influence? You probably want to select future. Maybe it's a brand new list of leads that you're yet to kind of farm. You want to select new for that. So just a couple examples. Now, contact types are a sort of a subcategory, a label, a folder, if you will. Some examples of common ones are buyer, seller, and past client. But if you click in the search to add box, there's tons of different examples here, and there's tons of ones that I've added manually. So if you want to search for something, just type it in the box here, buyer, it'll pop up, green tag, seller, red tag, past client, yellow tag. So those are examples of built-in ones. Maybe I'm importing a list of all buyer leads or buyer contacts potentially. I can select that. If they're not tagged in the spreadsheet already, that's a great way. This will apply to everyone in the spreadsheet. So maybe you just want to tag that this is your old CRM import. You could do that. Maybe you want to put the date, or maybe like MLS contacts, whatever you want to tag them all as, something that's going to help you. I would recommend just using this for anything that you think will be useful to help you stay organized. There's no real wrong way to use this. Just whatever is going to help you stay organized is the best way to use this feature. So after you select any contact types you think are appropriate for everyone in the spreadsheet, the most vital part now is the field mappings. So how this works is on the left side, this will show you what the columns in your spreadsheet are called. And this will show you up to 4 samples from that column from your spreadsheet. So, and then on the right side, there's drop-down boxes where you select the corresponding option in Top Producer CRM. So in this example, this actually matches up perfectly, but spreadsheets will vary from different platforms. So sometimes this might just be name, or you might have spouse first name. Well, name, first name to first name, last name to last name. Spouse first name can go to secondary first name. So I just hit S on my keyboard and it jumped down. Secondary first name, secondary last name, just pretending this is a spouse. Email address, maybe your spreadsheet says email 1, email 2, email 3. You want to select email address for email 1, other email for email 2, and then other emails for email 3. Business phone, mobile phone, just match them up to the corresponding ones. Maybe it's phone 1, 2, 3, or primary phone, secondary phone. I would suggest for primary phone, mobile phone, because I'd say 90% of the time, someone's primary phone that you have on file is likely their mobile phone. That's a pretty safe bet. Even if it isn't, it's not the end of the world. You can always update that later. So just take your time and find the best option for each of these. If you have someone's addresses in here, you can import those individually. So street/address, city, state, zip, country. Or if you have the full address in one cell in the spreadsheet, you can just select street/address. So this one right here can accept a full address all at once, or you can use it just for the street address. So it's versatile. So like I said, if you have it split up, use street/address for the street, then select city, state, zip separately. Now, if you have a column in your spreadsheet that could already be used for a contact type in TPX, maybe you have a column that says like buyer, seller, past client, buyer, realtor, etc. You can actually map that directly up to contact type to save yourself some time. So Maybe it's called labels or something in your other CRM. This is contact type in TPX. So this will individually apply them from the spreadsheet as opposed to this, which will apply to all the contacts in the import at once. So if you have a note section or maybe a field with some data that does not have a corresponding option in TPX, but you want to bring in, you can use add to contact notes. So add to contact notes. Please note contact type and add to contact notes. You can only use these once per import. So just please choose as wisely as possible. And then, after reviewing all this data 2 or 3 times, don't worry if this takes you 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes. It's definitely worth it to make sure you're doing the import right the first time. I've had people say, so I just scroll down and just import the contacts, should be fine. I'm like, no. Like you legitimately need to spend some time on this. Do your due diligence to make sure you set yourself up correctly from the get-go, because spreadsheets coming from other systems, they're exactly that. They're a spreadsheet, they're data coming from another system. You need to adapt it to Top Producer so that you're ready to go. So if you're sure that this is good, and if you're not sure, you can always contact our customer care team, reach out via the live chat, give us a call. We can walk through this with you. We can review it with you to make sure that you are getting the most of your import. So if you're ever not sure, best to be safe and just contact us. And we have plenty of experience with this process. But if you are sure, feel free to click import contacts, and that will allow you to carry on with this process. So it'll bring you back to the import contact screen. It'll say status in progress, 0 contacts. Please don't be alarmed. It'll say 0 until it's done. And then you click check status just once in a while to check. If it's completed, it'll say completed, and it'll show you the total number of contacts. So that's how you import from a spreadsheet. You can import multiple spreadsheets. And then there's another way to get contacts in your database that I mentioned, which is using contact sync. So if you have contacts in your Gmail account, Office 365, iCloud, etc., you can bring them in with contact sync, and you can keep your contacts up to date. So that's the other option right here, contact sync. So how this works, it's very similar to email integration. You just put in the email address of the service that has your contacts, and you click authorize. Now, a couple things to note about this feature, very important. It will bring in every single contact from that service. It doesn't allow you to pick and choose. So it'll bring them all into the future status tab in your pipeline. It'll tag them all with Gmail or Outlook or iCloud or whatever the service is so that you can easily find them. So worst comes to worst, you can do a search for all those contacts and delete them if you've made a mistake. It's not the end of the world. But this is not a bad thing. You can bring them all in. You could even shift them all to, let's say, inactive to get them out of the way of your pipeline until you're sure which contacts you want in there. So if you have like 500 contacts and you're worried about only maybe 150 of them being real estate related, it's not a bad thing to have your other contacts in here. You can, like I said, recategorize them to inactive, and then you realize, oh, hey, I need Jim Smith actually in my pipeline because he's kind of part of my sphere of influence. You just do a search for him, and with one click, you switch him over to future. So it's not difficult at all. So that being said, contact sync also has a certain degree of duplicate checking built in. So what I mean by this is when it brings over contacts from your email service to Top Producer, it'll actually check if there's an existing contact in your database for that person based off their name, their phone number, and email address. If enough of that matches up, it'll kind of determine, hey, this is the same person. So what I always recommend is importing from spreadsheets first. And then just in case there's any crossover between what's in your spreadsheet and your, let's say, Google account, if you import with contact sync second, it will check for duplicates, like I said, as long as enough matches up. So I always recommend spreadsheet first, contact sync second. If you have multiple email services with multiple groups of contacts, you could, in theory, authorize the sync for your Gmail, let it do its thing, unsynchronize it, and then link up your iCloud or whatever. But then at the end of the day, you're going to want to keep the sync connected for whichever email service you primarily use for your contacts. So maybe you're using an Android phone and your Android phone automatically pushes your contacts to your Google account. You'd probably want to keep it linked to your Google account so that when you're on the go and you add a new lead to your phone, someone you just met, for example, it'll automatically show up in your Top Producer. Or maybe you use an iPhone and your contacts are automatically synced to iCloud. Same thing with iCloud. And yeah, just a reminder, iCloud users, you will need that two-step authentication. You will need that app password created. So just a reminder. And also you will need to actually use your at iCloud.com address. So you cannot use an alias address. For example, if your iCloud's alias email is a Gmail account, you will actually sync your Gmail. So that's not what you'd want to do if you're an iCloud user and your contacts are there. You need to actually select your at iCloud.com address. Specifically, if you're not sure how to locate this, please do a search online. Apple has some articles regarding that. So guys, that is 2 different ways to get your contacts into TPX. Importing from a spreadsheet, using Contact Sync, or both. Great ways to get started and great ways to keep your database up to date, especially with that Contact Sync. So that being said, we are moving on to our last point here, which is now that you've got some settings configured, you've got your contacts database starting to be built up, what's next? How do I stay on top of my database? How do I even get it started from there? Where do I go with 500 contacts? Well, the follow-up coach is your answer to that, because the follow-up coach is going to provide you with 5 contacts a day that it recommends you reach out to, or at least update their profiles in your system to really get things on track. And then going forward, once you've used the follow-up coach for a couple of weeks, pretty much every single suggestion by it should be more relevant and should be actually about follow-up and less about cleaning up your database. So maybe you're dealing with your current clients and your best leads. Well, totally understandable. That's what you should be doing. But the follow-up coach will have your back just in case anyone starts to slip through the cracks. Maybe that past client you haven't spoken with in months. Maybe that sphere of influence contact, which could have been promising, might have some referrals for you or something like that. Things like that. And obviously new leads and stuff will, if unattended, show up in the follow-up coach as well. So great asset to have. Maybe you've done your task for today. You have no more pending phone calls. You don't have any appointments. Follow-up coach is a great thing to jump into to see what else you can do to be productive in your database or just in your business in general. So jumping back to TPX, going to go to the contacts page in the top left corner. And we're going to click on the follow-up coach tab along the top here. So new, engage, future, active, closed, follow-up coach. So if you don't see anything in your follow-up coach, please don't be alarmed. This will come to life about 24 hours after your first contact import. So if you've just imported contacts, please give this some time. The follow-up coach needs at least that 1 day to kick in. So after that 1 day, you can come in here and see these 5 tiles across the screen, 5 different contacts with 5 different suggestions on which actions to take. So some of the most common suggestions by the follow-up coach you will see if you're brand new to Top Producer is something like this. So we look at Ken Phrase here. He's a future contact. So he could be sphere of influence. He could just be sort of a colder lead. He could just be part of a spreadsheet import, which is what follow-up coach is suggesting here. So it says, schedule a follow-up to ensure imported contacts don't fall through the cracks. So what it's saying is Ken was part of, or most likely part of, a spreadsheet import, like a bulk import with maybe hundreds of contacts. TPX says, I don't know where this guy actually belongs yet because you haven't told me. So let's jump on that and take advantage of this as a cleanup tool and a follow-up tool at the same time. So we click into Ken's record here. It opens up his contact record. The follow-up coach is going to elaborate on its suggestion in the purple area here. So it'll say, update their pipeline status, contact type, and who they should be assigned to. So let's do all that at once by going down to edit contact, the blue button at the bottom. We'll worry about his other contact details later, but what we're interested in the most right now is status and type. So let's scroll down 2/3 of the way, contact status, contact type. So let's say in this example, I realize, hey, you know what? Ken's not really sphere of influence. Let's say he's actually a past client. So let's actually go ahead and switch him to closed. So now he's in the correct status. Let's go ahead and add a contact type, past client. Click on it. And then let's maybe add a contact type of, so maybe we have helped him buy a property. Maybe in the future he's a potential seller. So let's put potential seller. And that's a contact type that does not exist. So I'm going to go ahead and add this. And then let's go ahead and check the assignment. If you have more than one agent on your team, you can choose which agent this contact is assigned to. I'm going to keep it assigned to myself and click Save Contact. So then what have we done here? We've been reminded by the follow-up coach to take action. It's told us what that recommended action is. We've edited the contact. We've changed his status to closed. We've tagged him with past client and potential seller. So this is a much healthier contact record now. We have it more accurately representing where Ken is actually in our business and what the potential is. So we've taken care of that. But if we click on Mark Done and tell the follow-up coach we completed that, well, with a name like the follow-up coach, unsurprisingly, it's mostly about follow-up. So it's going to ask, how did you reach out to them? Well, we haven't, but maybe we could. So let's X out of here for a moment and say, you know what? This is a great opportunity. Ken and I haven't spoken for months. So maybe you want to follow up with Ken at this point. So that's another thing. We've been reminded to update his record and to actually follow up with them. So we can do this via email integration. Since we've set up our email, we can go ahead and compose email in the top right. We can create a message, or we can use our templates in the bottom right. Let's find a past client check-in or something. Past client check-in, reconnecting with the past client. Hey Ken, it's been far too long since we last spoke. I promise to do a better job at keeping in touch. The market has changed a lot since we worked together. I'd love to catch up and fill you in on what's going on in our local market. Let me know if and when you're available. Talk soon, Spencer. So nice, easy follow-up email to a past client. I'm going to go ahead and send that email. That's going to show up now in the email history between Ken and I. If Ken opens his email, I can see that. It'll switch from a red eye to a green eye. I could also, of course, pick up the phone and call Ken. In this case, let's just say I sent him a simple past client check-in email as I did. I'm going to go to the follow-up coach, click Mark Done. By which method did we reach out? Email. Capture details of your touch. Sent past client email. And then why don't we schedule a follow-up? Because we could just wrap this up and be done with it. And, he'll show up in our follow-up coach eventually again and whatever. But why not take this a step further and schedule a follow-up right away? So let's maybe set a to-do. Follow up on past client email. Let's set this date to, let's say, a week from now. And we're setting a to-do reminder. So that's just a reminder for ourselves to just see if there's been any action. This could be a reminder just to simply check our email history, see if Ken's seen the email. Maybe Ken's called us by then or texted us. Then we can just kind of mark that as done anyway. So just to recap, through the follow-up coach, all at once we've been reminded to update this person's record, tag him as a past client, a closed contact, potential seller. We've been reminded to reach out to him since it's been a while. We sent an email in a matter of seconds. And then we're telling the follow-up coach we have emailed. It was about this. And we're scheduling a follow-up to-do reminder to follow up on this whole situation a week from now. We're going to go ahead and save that wrap-up. And so that's going to take us back to the record here. That is done. Sent past client email. And that's what I call productivity. So in one fell swoop, we have completely covered everything this contact needs all right now. We can click the X out of here. Actually, let's go to task for 1 sec. We now see that the follow-up is booked there. If I click on complete, I see the email sent task is completed. I can then go to my task tab on the left side of TPX. If I click on next 7 days, custom date range, and set this to a little bit further, follow up on past client email. That's, let me move my camera. That is right there. If I go on my calendar, follow up on past client emails right there. So we're not going to miss that. So follow-up coach has other suggestions. Following up on your market snapshots. This person hasn't opened it. Find out why. Send a follow-up email. Pick up the phone and call them. Lots of different suggestions in here. So I highly recommend to everyone watching as homework. Get in there after your 24 hours after your import. Take a look at what the follow-up coach has to offer. I think you'll be very surprised at how easy it is to go through these natural workflows, to clean up your database, to follow up with past clients, to work your sphere of influence, and maybe even work some new leads that made their way in there that you haven't attended to yet. So, like I said, my challenge, my homework to you, do your 5 a day. You might find that you really love it and that's super effective to get your database on track and stay on track. You can always click the refresh list button if you want to keep using the follow-up coach. But I know you guys are busy, and so once you get used to scheduling your tasks and appointments in Top Producer and really working your contacts, that's going to take up, a good part of your computer time. Then you'll be on the road, you'll be making, talking to people, doing showings, things like that. And then if you have some extra time, you can always jump into the follow-up coach to see what else you can work on. So follow-up coach is always going to have your back. I recommend it every step of the way. And guys, so that being said, before we finish up today, going to talk about what some recommended next steps are. So you know how to configure your settings, you know how to import contacts. We've talked about the follow-up coach to get your database on track and to use it as your day-to-day follow-up and cleanup assistant. So what's next? Well, top producer quick start videos that Marvin has been linking to, other webinar content. Like I said, you can join me on Thursday. It'd be great to have you guys. 4 things you'll want to know after you set up TPX. So in the day in between, I recommend watching as many quick start videos as possible. Reach out using the live chat. Give us a call for questions to fill in the gaps there. And then for coaching, feel free to join me on Thursday. So I'm going to show you how to access all of that through your Top Producer CRM. So while you're in Top Producer X, click on the top right corner profile picture right here. If you haven't set your picture yet, it'll just be a little gray sort of person looking thing. Then click on Support Site. Oh, Ali, thank you very much. So for anyone that doesn't know, Ali joins in here regularly. Very avid Top Producer user. We're always happy to have her. And we're really happy that she gets some excellent use out of her Top Producer CRM as a transaction coordinator. So just a testament to how effective and easy to use the transaction management capabilities in TPX are. Because this is coming from a transaction coordinator of, I think, at least 12 years as far as I remember. And Ali can correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah, so Top Producer X support page, Top Producer support page, highly recommend as a next step, check out the video library. This will let you browse through our list of TPX quick start videos. So everything from customizing your sales pipeline with custom tabs and follow-up reminders to using the follow-up coach, setting up your MLS credentials and using property insights, setting up your lead providers with your myleads.io address, configuring and using Market Snapshot, creating your own task plans. Everything to resetting your password is covered here. You can also view the webinar schedule along the top menu bar. And here is the show that you're watching right now. Now, tomorrow on Facebook Live, Keith Hawken, our Senior Sales Director, is doing the latest Top Producer X CRM updates. If you want to learn more about what's coming this month, please tune in and watch Keith. There's some really exciting updates coming soon. So that would be the place to go. And then on Thursday, I'm doing 4 things you'll want to know after you set up TPX live on YouTube once again. And guys, since you are on YouTube right now, would really appreciate it if you could give the video a thumbs up if you enjoy the content, if you feel like it's helping you on your journey to start using Top Producer X. Yeah, we would really appreciate that way. That way we know the content is useful, that you guys are enjoying it, and we can continue carrying on doing this. And while you're there, make sure that you hit the subscribe button and the bell notification icon. Over that way. And that's going to make sure that you don't miss out on any future coaching and support content. We want you guys to have as much information as possible, as many resources to reference, so that you have help every step of the way on your journey to using Top Producer X and really integrating it as part of your business. So that being said, one last suggestion is I would highly recommend checking out the mobile version of Top Producer. On the support page, there's the Top Producer mobile section. Just click on that. Then click on About Top Producer CRM Mobile. And this will show you how to get started with this, give you some examples of what everything does. And you can, of course, click Log into Top Producer Mobile. You can access this at topproducer8i.com/m or m.tpcrm.com. Marvin can link you to that, m for mobile.tp for topproducercrm.com. And that's going to let you easily manage your CRM on the go, add contacts, search for contacts, work your tasks list, your follow-up coach, your calendar, so on and so forth. And that way you can more easily integrate it into your daily business life. Yeah, guys. So please take advantage of all the resources provided. Give us a call, customer care. Let me just show you that information once more here before we finish up. So, like I said, you can contact us via live chat in the bottom right of your CRM or other Top Producer products. You can give us a call at 1-800-830-8300, Monday to Friday, 7:30 a.m. till 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. You can also email us at support@topproducer.com. We would like to hear from you guys. Any questions, comments, feedback, any coaching required, please let us know. We're always here to help you guys. We want to make sure that you're successful. We know that you're busy as realtors. We want TPX to be approachable and usable and really benefit your business. And we'd be willing to help you every step of the way to make sure that you have what you need. So guys, that's all we have for today. This has been Getting Started with Top Producer X CRM. So whether you're a new user, long-time user, just getting into TPX, it's really good to have you today. And yeah, hopefully we'll see you guys next time on Thursday. Feel free to join in. If not, just reach out to our customer care team. Be happy to hear from you guys there as well. So guys, this has been Spencer with Top Producer, joined by Marvin in the live chat, guys. And yeah, feel free to rewatch the video later. It's always available. The recording is always available on YouTube afterwards. You can access that through the webinar calendar as well, by the way. So anyways, guys, thanks again for tuning in. Hopefully see you on Thursday. Until then, this has been Spencer with Top Producer. Take care, and we'll see you guys next time.